Hello, you're kicking off the Wednesday's edition of QPVN English News Bulletin with MINH and the headlines. National Assembly evaluates economic and fiscal progress. Strengthening Vietnam-Cuba defense cooperation. Expansion project of Ho Chi Minh Relic Site in Thailand. On June the 17th, during its ninth session, the 15th National Assembly held a plenary discussion on the government's supplementary report on the 2024 Socio-Economic Development and State Budget Plan, as well as early progress on the 2025 plan. The session was chaired by National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn and attended by General Secretary Tô Lâm, President Lương Cường, and Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính. National Assembly deputies expressed high consensus with the government's report and assessments from the Ethnic, Cultural and National Assembly committees. Despite an unfavorable global context, Vietnam met or exceeded all 15 socio-economic targets. Macroeconomic stability was maintained, inflation stayed below 4% for a decade, and trade surpluses have been recorded annually since 2016. Culture, health, education, tourism, and the cultural status also made notable contribution as internal growth drivers. To maintain strong, sustainable growth, we need long-term strategic solutions to buffer against external shocks. I recommend continuing with the three key breakthroughs of institutional reform, infrastructure, and human resources. At the same time, we should restructure traditional growth drivers, export investment, and especially domestic consumption in our 100 million strong market. I also urge the government to revise personal income tax policies by raising family deductions. It is now urgent. On the issues of counterfeit goods and trade fraud, many deputies warned the situation remains complex despite efforts. Fake products harm public health, erode consumer trust, and damage the reputation of legitimate businesses. They called for stronger enforcement and penalties. Counterfeit food, medicine, and cosmetics remain widespread. Offenders use increasingly sophisticated methods. I recommend the government enhance oversight and review how central and local agencies are managing their responsibility to ensure coordinated and effective control. Earlier that day, the National Assembly passed amendments to the law on enterprises and a resolution on reducing value-added tax. On June the 17th, General Phan Van Giang, Minister of National Defense, met with Canadian Ambassador to Vietnam, Sean Steele. Mr. Phan Van Giang noted that during Ambassador Steele's tenure, the two countries have made significant strides in defense cooperation, grounded in key agreements such as the Memorandum of Understanding in 2019 and the three-year cooperation plan for the 2024-2026 period. Collaboration has focused on delegation exchanges, training, maritime security, defense industry, UN peacekeeping, and war legacy remediation. Ambassador Sean Steele expressed his appreciation for the growing Vietnam-Canada partnership, highlighting its positive contributions to regional and global peace and stability. Looking ahead, both sides agreed to strengthen cooperation in priority areas, including high-level delegation visits, defense dialogue mechanisms, training, research and rescue, post-war recovery, and UN peacekeeping operation, where it meant to promote mutual consultation in multilateral defense and security forums. On June the 16th, local time, a formal welcome ceremony for the high-ranking military delegation of the Vietnam People's Army, led by General Nguyễn Tân Cương, Chief of the General Staff and Deputy Defense Minister, was held at El Cazasuel Mausoleum at Havana, Cuba. Colonel General Roberto Lacra Longo, Chief of the General Staff and First Deputy Minister of the Cuban Revolutionary Armed Forces, chaired the ceremony. General Nguyễn Tân Cương expressed his deep emotions when visiting the heroic, hospitable nation of Cuba and thanked the Cuban Revolutionary Armed Forces for their heartfelt friendship and thoughtful reception. It was pleased to see that the special traditional friendship between Vietnam and Cuba, nurtured by President Ho Chi Minh, President Fidel Castro, and generations of leaders and people of the two countries, has continued to grow over the past 65 years. Colonel General Roberto Lacroix Longo believed the visit could further strengthen the traditional solidarity, special friendship, and comprehensive cooperation between the two nations and their militaries. At El Cacahua Mausoleum, General Nguyễn Tân Cương and his delegation led a wreath to honor General Antonio Maciel, a hero of Cuba's independence movement who had a significant influence on Latin American liberation struggles. Following the official welcome, General Nguyễn Tân Cương and the Vietnam People's Army delegation visited Thai Division 1101 under the Cuban Revolutionary Armed Forces. He expressed admiration for the division's rich tradition and continued growth in organization and personnel over 60 years of development, combat, and maturity. General Nguyễn Tân Cương stated that in the face of global uncertainties, both nations and militaries must further strengthen ties and coordination to protect revolutionary achievements and fully follow the chosen path. He noted the division holds great potential for cooperation with units of the Vietnam People's Army. The Chief of the General Staff of the Vietnam People's Army believed the division would continue to excellently fulfill own tasks entrusted by the party, state, people, and the Cuban Revolutionary Armed Forces. At the visit, General Nguyễn Tân Cương cited the unit's traditional Golden Book and presented gifts to the officers and soldiers of the division. On the same day, Senior Lieutenant General Nguyễn Tân Cương and the Vietnamese high-ranking military delegation and Cuban Deputy Minister of the Armed Forces, Colonel General Roberto Lacroix Longo, visited and led a wreath at the statue of President Ho Chi Minh in Havana. General Nguyễn Tân Cương expressed his deep emotions visiting the statue, an enduring symbol of the Vietnam-Cuba friendship and solidarity. Located along one of Havana's major avenues, the monument occupies 54 square meters, symbolizing Vietnam's 54 ethnic groups. At its center is the star set in marble, evoking the Vietnamese national flag. The pedestal is made of plain white marble, free of patterns or decorations, honoring President Ho Chi Minh's lifelong humility and integrity. Since its inauguration on May 19, 2003, the site has become a meaningful venue for commemorative and friendship events between the two countries. During the visit, General Nguyễn Tân Cương presented gifts to local residents living near the park, who regularly care for and maintain the statue and its surroundings. On June the 17th, Senior Lieutenant General Hoàng Xuân Chiến, Deputy Defense Minister, received a delegation from the Finance Department of the General Department of Logistics under the Lao Ministry of National Defense, currently on a working visit to Vietnam. At the meeting, Senior Lieutenant General Hoàng Xuân Chiến affirmed that defense cooperation between the two countries has continued to develop in a practical, effective manner, especially in areas such as delegation exchanges, maintaining cooperation mechanisms, shared experience, mutual assistance, and aid. The two finance departments have held regular meetings, exchanged expertise, and provided timely advice to the military's leaders on financial matters, contributing to the effective implementation of bilateral military defense cooperation. He called for even closer coordination in professional areas, with continued innovation and improvement in financial management quality. The Lao delegation expressed hope that the Vietnamese Ministry of National Defense would continue to facilitate the implementation of agreed cooperation contents, especially in finance. Earlier the same morning, the Vietnamese Finance Department held talks with the Lao delegation to review financial support for defense cooperation activities in 2024 and discuss plans for 2025. Both sides coordinated closely and successfully ensured funding for unplanned activities. The Lao side expressed a desire to continue sharing experience, especially in procurement, resource generation, investment, and training financial officers for the military. Coming up next, expansion project of Ho Chi Minh relic site in Thailand. More support for Agent Orange abduction victims. A contract signing ceremony for building a new hall as part of the Ho Chi Minh relic site expansion project was recently held in Udon Thani Province, northeastern Thailand. Attendees included Mr. Dinh Hoàng Linh, Consul General of Vietnam in Khon Kaen, Mr. Luong Xuân Hoa, Chairman of the Vietnamese Association in Udon Thani, the Science Management Board, and many overseas Vietnamese. At a total cost of around $680,000, The hall will be built over 3 years and inaugurated to mark the 100th anniversary of President Ho Chi Minh's arrival in Thailand, 1928 to 2028. The hall will accommodate around 400 people and serve as the venue for major community events of the Vietnamese in Uon Thani, particularly on key occasions such as Nature Day and President Ho Chi Minh's birthday. Consul General Dinh Hoàng Linh stressed that building this hall within the relic site is a highly meaningful project, offering the community more space for cultural gatherings and social engagement. He also praised the efforts of the Overseas Vietnamese and the Site Management Board in preserving the profound cultural values of President Ho Chi Minh. He encouraged the community to remain united and continue promoting Vietnam's cultural traditions within the diaspora to the Thai people and international friends at large. The devastating impact of Agent Orange still lingers with the most serious consequences. Millions of victims are suffering from deformities with a future concluded by the legacy of war. In the long journey to alleviate that pain, we're not alone. Helping hands from the community, social organizations, scientists, doctors, and domestic and international sponsors have reached Agent Orange victims. It is human love beyond all geography and political boundaries that has become a great resource for us to heal the wounds of war. Along with tireless efforts to settle the consequences and soothe the Agent Orange pain, the party, state, and government of Vietnam have exerted endeavors to seek justice for victims of Agent Orange abduction. In addition, that voice also resonates strongly through people-to-people diplomacy activities, which are suitable bridges connecting the hearts of Vietnam with friends around the world. Through such good deeds, the world has a better understanding of the Agent Orange disaster in Vietnam. From every continent, international friends have opened their arms with a sincere sharing, practical actions, and strong voices for justice. These are cross-border handshakes, a testament to the strength of human solidarity in the face of pain of war, together writing the next chapter of conscience and humanity.
Điển hình trong những cái vụ đó.
The justified for Agent Orange victims of Trần Tú Nga, a French citizen of Vietnamese origin, is a typical example. She is a pioneer in seeking justice for victims. One petition carries 1 million hearts to support them. Until now, the justice fight has been carried out in an active way so that the world community, the U.S. government, and people can understand the disaster and lingering pains of Agent Orange. In recent years, the U.S. has cooperated with the Vietnamese government through practical projects from handling toxin contamination to supporting affected communities. Notable initiatives include the improving the quality of life for people with disabilities in heavily spread areas project. It is a clear demonstration of the commitment to accommodating and healing the wounds of war.
And for our part, the United States, it's a good reminder to us of the importance of continuing our efforts. Since 1991, the U.S. has provided $155 million in assistance to people with disabilities. In 2023, we assisted 26,000 individuals with disabilities, things like home health care, rehabilitation, social services, and so it's just a very important day to remember. But every day, it's important to remember victims, their families, and the difficulties that they face and the importance of our efforts to help them.
Settling the post-war consequences is not just a story for one country, but for all humanity. In a world towards peace and sustainable development, no one has the right to ignore the victims of history. And only when the international community continues to join hands with specific actions, with the voice of justice, with responsible policies, can we truly close that painful chapter by compassion and forgiveness. Vietnam cherishes every heart and every volunteer activities that has been accommodated with us on that journey. It's the end of the English News Bulletin today. You can watch our news again at QBVN.vn. Have a goodbye and see you next time.